Let's talk about China, a nation that has dazzled the world with its breathtaking transformation over just a few decades. Once known for its vast rural landscapes and ancient traditions, China is now synonymous with futuristic skylines and relentless ambition. Skyscrapers pierce the clouds, high-speed trains zip across the countryside, and hundreds of millions have been lifted from poverty. The headlines are impressive, painting a picture of unstoppable progress and prosperity. But beneath this glittering surface, a much darker and more complex story has been quietly building, largely hidden from the world's gaze. While the world admired China's meteoric rise, a mountain of debt was quietly growing in the shadows, threatening the very foundation of this economic miracle. Today, millions of families find themselves trapped in a relentless cycle of borrowing, repayments, and mounting anxiety, unsure of how to break free. This isn't just about overspending on luxuries or bad personal choices. It's a deep systemic issue, rooted in the very economic model that powered China's astonishing growth. The government encouraged relentless expansion, banks flooded the market with easy loans, and people were told that buying property was the surest path to prosperity and security. For a while, this formula worked wonders, until the cracks began to show and the dream started to unravel. Now there are two Chinas, the confident, futuristic one showcased in propaganda and glossy advertisements, and the anxious, debt-burdened reality faced by ordinary people every day. Parents struggle to pay their mortgages, young people are crushed by student and consumer debt, and small business owners are losing everything they've worked for. This is more than just an economic story. It's a deeply human crisis, affecting families, dreams, and the very fabric of society. The question now is, what happens when the world's economic engine starts to sputter, choked by the very fuel, debt and speculation, that once made it run so fast? The answer could reshape not just China's future, but the fate of the entire global economy, sending shockwaves far beyond its borders. So, how did we get here? Let's dig deeper into the forces and decisions that created this ticking time bomb. Let's look at the numbers. The story of China's household debt is one of rapid transformation, and the figures are truly staggering. In 2008, Chinese household debt was just 18% of GDP, a manageable level by global standards, and a sign of a country still largely reliant on savings and cash. Fast forward to today, and it's soared past 65%. This is a dramatic increase in just over a decade, reflecting a fundamental shift in how Chinese families live and spend. That's over 80 trillion yuan, an unimaginable burden for millions of ordinary people, weighing down their daily lives and future dreams. What does this mean for families? Their debts have grown much faster than their incomes, making it harder to get ahead or even stay afloat. Take the Wangs. A decade ago, they took out a modest loan for a small apartment, hoping to build a better life. Now, they're juggling a massive mortgage, a car loan, and daily expenses, often covered by online lending apps and credit cards. The pressure is relentless. They're stuck in a debt trap, and their story is shared by millions across China, from big cities to small towns. This wasn't an accident. After the 2008 financial crisis, China pumped the economy full of easy credit, hoping to keep growth strong. Banks handed out loans, especially for property, fueling a real estate boom and encouraging families to borrow more than ever before. But this created a dangerous addiction to debt, as borrowing became the new normal. The entire economy became hooked on cheap money, with spending and investment driven by easy loans. Now, as the flow of easy credit slows, the pain is everywhere. Businesses are closing, and workers are feeling the squeeze. Families are struggling to keep up with payments, facing tough choices about what to cut and how to survive. The withdrawal symptoms are severe and spreading, affecting not just individuals but entire communities. China's debt problem isn't just about numbers. It's about lives upended, dreams deferred, and a sense of security lost. And the next chapter is even more troubling, as the consequences of this debt mountain continue to unfold. In China, property was more than an investment. It was the investment. With few other options, families poured their savings into real estate, convinced prices would always rise. The government encouraged this, fueling a construction frenzy. People took on huge mortgages, borrowing from family just to make down payments. Developers like Evergrande borrowed billions, using pre-sales to fund new projects, a high-stakes Ponzi scheme. Rising prices made everyone feel richer, so they borrowed more, pushing prices even higher. Local governments joined in, selling land to developers for revenue. Everyone had a stake in keeping the bubble inflated. But the entire system was built on ever-increasing debt. When the music stopped, the consequences were devastating. The property party went on too long, and now the hangover is here. The dream of easy wealth through property has turned into a nightmare for millions, and the fallout is just beginning. Then, the government tried to rein in the chaos. New rules limited developer borrowing, hoping to cool the market. But the bubble didn't shrink, it burst. Developers like Evergrande defaulted, construction halted, and millions were left with mortgages on unfinished homes. Mortgage boycotts erupted as buyers refused to pay for apartments that didn't exist. Property values fell for the first time in decades, wiping out household wealth. 70% of Chinese household wealth is tied up in real estate. Now, much of it is underwater. Ghost cities of empty towers and deserted malls are the legacy of this excess. Families are trapped, owing more than their homes are worth, unable to sell or escape. The psychological blow is immense. What was once a symbol of security is now a source of regret. The collapse of the property boom has left scars across the nation. The dream is broken, and the nightmare continues. This is the brutal reality behind China's empty apartments. Behind the statistics are real people whose lives have unraveled. Every number in the headlines represents a family, a dream, and a future now in jeopardy. Mr. Chen, a factory owner, expanded during the boom. Now, with no orders and mounting debt, he's facing bankruptcy. His workers, once hopeful for steady jobs, now worry about their next paycheck. Young couples like Li Wei and Mei Ling bought homes off-plan, only to see construction stop. Their dreams of a new life together have been put on indefinite hold. They pay mortgages on empty shells, their savings gone. Each month, the burden grows heavier, with no end in sight. Recent graduates like Xiao Zhang face record youth unemployment, saddled with student loans and few job prospects. Years of hard work and study now seem to offer little reward. The sense of disillusionment is widespread. Hopes for a better tomorrow have faded into anxiety and uncertainty. For decades, the social contract was clear: accept one-party rule and the government delivers prosperity. This unspoken agreement shaped the ambitions of millions. Now that promise feels hollow for millions. The trust that once bound society together is beginning to fray. They worked hard, followed the rules, and invested as told, yet face financial ruin. Many feel betrayed by a system they believed would protect them. The debt crisis is measured in sleepless nights, broken families, and lost dreams. The emotional toll is as severe as the financial one. It's not just about money, it's about trust, hope, and the future. The uncertainty touches every generation, from the young to the elderly. The human cost is staggering. Behind every closed shop and empty apartment is a story of loss and resilience. The stories of Mr. Chen, Li Wei, Mei Ling, and Xiao Zhang are everywhere. Their struggles echo across cities and towns, uniting millions in shared hardship. The crisis has shaken the foundation of the Chinese dream. What once seemed certain now feels fragile and out of reach, and the pain is far from over. Many wonder when or if relief will come. This is the true price of China's debt-fueled miracle, a cost paid not just in yuan, but in hope, trust, and the dreams of a generation. While property debt grabbed headlines, another trap was set, right on people's phones. Fintech giants like Ant Group and Tencent made borrowing effortless through apps like Alipay and WeChat Pay. Microloans for everything, phones, vacations, even rent, were just a tap away. These loans, marketed as harmless, often carried high interest rates. Young people, lacking financial education, fell into cycles of debt, rolling over loans and digging deeper holes. The culture of easy credit spread, adding another layer to China's debt crisis. The government eventually cracked down on fintech, but the damage was done. Millions now juggle multiple loans, their finances in chaos. What seemed like modern convenience became a new kind of trap. The easy loan era has left a generation struggling to escape debt. The crisis isn't just financial, it's social. Local governments, once flush from land sales, are now broke, unable to fund basic services. Civil servants and teachers face pay cuts or delays, fueling public anger. Desperate measures, arbitrary fines, welfare cuts, only deepen the pain. Protests have erupted, mortgage boycotts, laid off workers, and investors demanding lost savings. Even small demonstrations are significant in a tightly controlled society. Online, stories of financial ruin spread, fueling discontent. The psychological toll is severe. Anxiety, shame, and a sense of failure are widespread. Many young people are lying flat, opting out of the rat race entirely. The debt crisis is reshaping society, one protest and one broken dream at a time. This crisis strikes at the heart of the Communist Party's legitimacy. The unspoken deal: give up political freedoms in exchange for prosperity. Now, with jobs vanishing and property values collapsing, that promise is broken for millions. People are questioning the system, wondering if the party is still delivering. The government's response: censorship, propaganda, and tighter control. But it's hard to convince people everything's fine when their lives are falling apart. The Chinese dream, national strength, and personal prosperity, now seems out of reach for many. The very policies that built China's strength have trapped millions in debt. The social contract is fraying, and the government knows it. The debt crisis isn't just economic, it's political. The stakes have never been higher. China stands at a crossroads. Its economic miracle is now inseparable from its debt crisis. This is a national reckoning, with consequences for every level of society. The optimism of the past has given way to anxiety and disillusionment. The government faces a dilemma: act too little, risk collapse; act too much, risk even more debt. There are no easy answers. Every solution carries risk. The world is watching, because China's fate affects everyone. Can the government find a new, sustainable path, or is a lost decade ahead? The future of China and the global economy hangs in the balance. The answer will shape the world for years to come.